Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Since Queen Nicola announced her resignation, the SNP has fell into a maelstrom of backbiting and infighting. Like squabbling children in the playground, the three candidates are fighting it out to see whose turn it will be next. And in the middle of all this, something amazing has happened. Something wonderful. Support for independence has collapsed. There is now over a 10-point difference between the yeas and the nays. Now, whether this is because the public think that only Nicola Sturgeon could have delivered independence is one argument, or that possibly that they've looked at the three candidates and realised that whichever one wins, it's going to be a real crap fest for Scotland, and that they're best staying in for now, just to make sure that they don't turn third world virtually overnight should the likes of Humza get his way and win independence and become the next Grand Vizier of Scotland. But we'll have a look at this article to see why it's changing, why people are rejecting it, and what this means going forward. Here goes. Right, so support for Scottish independence collapses in the wake of Nicola Sturgeon's resignation as a new poll shows a 10-point lead for no, while only a quarter of voters say Kate Forbes would be the best choice as First Minister. Now, that has got to be the biggest gap. I can't remember a bigger gap ever. 10 points say no to independence. 10-point lead. It wasn't that long ago that there was a small, slender, admitted majority for independence. So it goes to show that it is down to Nicola Sturgeon. She is seen as the only one, the only viable candidate, if you like. I'm not a candidate anymore, but the only viable First Minister who could have even offered and got to the point where independence was even a thing. And now that these three clowns have taken over, it's dropped like a stone, it's gone, and the independence dream is over. Anyway, support for independence among Scottish voters is now 10 percentage points behind support for remaining in the UK, a new opinion poll has shown. According to the Redfield and Wilton Strategies survey, 45% of Scottish voters would vote yes to independence at a referendum, compared to 55% who would vote no. The poll was conducted in the wake of Nicola Sturgeon's bombshell resignation as SNP leader and First Minister, which has upended Scottish politics. Now, I think there'll be further revelations if Police Scotland bring charges, or at least bring enough evidence in that charges can be brought. I think it would be a fitting end to Sturgeon's career. I would certainly, I would find it very amusing for her to spend time in prison, presumably in a ladies' prison. But you never know, do you, in Scotland, really, anymore? But that sudden resignation out of the blue like that, yeah, we know why. There's something crook going on. Anyway, that's a different video. It represents. This is the back on the story now. I should stop doing these asides. Anyway, it represents a turnaround from Redfield and Wilton's previous survey in late November, which had shown yes on a 52% support and no on a 48% support. That's what I was remembering. This month, the survey appears to show little enthusiasm amongst Scottish voters for any of Miss Sturgeon's possible successors. And there's the Ukrainian flag of Scottish independence. But yeah, remaining in the UK, 55%. Just very quickly, there is here the survey as well on who would make the best leader. Now, across the whole country, across all correspondents across the country, Kate Forbes is number one at 25%. To be top dog, as it were, with 25% doesn't show that people have a lot of faith in you. Obviously, Humza Yousaf 18%. And Ash Regan 14. Now, Ash Regan really, she must be a glutton for punishment. She must be looking forward to being publicly humiliated. When you can't even beat Humza Yousaf, you need to give up and go home. For heaven's sake, love, save yourself the embarrassment of being ridiculed for not even beating Humza Yousaf. And that's at the public at large. Now, obviously, in the SNP voters, 21% are going for Kate Forbes, 27% for Humza Yousaf. So it looks like the fix is in, and continuity Nicola Sturgeon will actually take over, and the glove puppet will be in Holyrood. And then just finally here, the Scottish National Party, obviously still the biggest voting bloc, 39% of current voting intention, but down from 45%, so they've lost 6%. I mean, that's a massive swing. That is a massive swing of support. Labour up 10. I mean, it goes to show. Well, we saw this the Aberdeen by-election. The Scottish National Party vote collapsed, and Labour got in. A massive swing there. So I think it is going to be rough days ahead for the Nats, and they have now nothing to offer. Their vote, you look at their record and it's terrible. But where they were going, oh yes, our record's terrible, but we're still going to deliver on independence. Well, you ain't going to deliver on independence. Independence needs to be put on the back burner, and you need to do your day job and fix everything that you've broken. And I don't know if you can. Anyway, only a quarter, 25% of respondents said Kate Forbes, the current Scottish Finance Secretary, would be the best First Minister for Scotland, compared to 18% who backed the current Health Secretary, Humza Yousaf. Ash Regan, the third candidate in the SNP leadership race, was supported by 14% of the voters. 18, 32, 57%. That means 43% of Scotland don't want any of these three to be First Minister. Wow. More than 2/5, 44%, said they did not know, which we've just said, which of the SNP hopefuls would make it the best First Minister. Yeah, they know that none of them would. They might make a First Minister, but it won't be the best one, will it? Anyway, the 10-point lead for no over yes on the question of Scottish independence was reduced to 9 percentage points when those responding don't know in the latest poll were included. But only out of those who gave a response would it be 10%. This put no on 51% support compared to yes on 42% support, with 8% saying they did not know how they would vote in a referendum. But it doesn't matter, even if all 8% voted for yes, it would still be no. This is the whole point. You cannot deliver. And so all this constant harping on, especially by Ash Regan going, oh, every decision is going to be an independence vote. Everything we do is going to be an independence vote. Then you'll lose everything. You'll lose. Because you cannot deliver an independence vote. But despite the apparent drop in support for Scottish independence over the past few months, the SNP was still the best supported party in Scotland when voters were asked who they would vote for at a general election. So 39%, which means 61% of Scotland, Scottish voters, 61% of them don't want the SNP. Ms Sturgeon last month announced her resignation as the SNP first leader and First Minister amid infighting over her party's independence strategy and a row over gender identity reforms and the close presence of Police Scotland looking at the books. Redfield and Wilton poll found she is set to leave office with a net approval rating of plus 2%, with 42% approving of Miss Sturgeon's overall job performance since she became SNP leader and 40% disapproving. Again, 18% remaining who don't care. She needs to go quickly and, basically get out and not try and get a job elsewhere, not try to have any kind of influence anywhere, because her influence over the last 15 years has destroyed everything she has touched. Everything the SNP has dealt with has failed, and it's all can be laid at her door. Anyway, that's that. I'll come up now and we'll round off. But it is a sad indictment that Nicola Sturgeon, who's going, is the best First Minister Scotland could ever have. Gee gods. The Chinese have a saying that it is a curse to be born in interesting times. And we are living in interesting times. The support has collapsed since Sturgeon announced her resignation. So I think it is fairly safe to say that she was the unifying force of the SNP. Nobody dare gainsay what she said. She would cast a basilisk eye on anyone who fell out of line. Now we're seeing the infighting, the squabbling. We're seeing them destroy each other and the party. And it's joyous to watch. with the support falling like that, you can almost certainly say it will continue to fall, regardless of who becomes leader next. Independence is gone. It's a pipe dream. That isn't going to happen. Labour are making massive inroads into the SNP lead. I mean, we cannot get away from the fact that 39% is still massive. But, you know, that gain, that 10% gain by Labour is huge. And it will be very worrying to whoever eventually emerges as the leader. As I said earlier in the piece, you've got the Aberdeen by-election is a bellwether for what's going to happen at the next general election, I think. But it couldn't happen to a nicer bunch. So will they, once they've sorted out their differences, get on and do the day job and correct everything? Or will it just be more of the same, more destruction? Who knows? But they are interesting times. Thanks for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, do please hit that subscribe button right now if you haven't already, and ring the bell for notification of future output. Leave a like, do please leave a comment, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and hope to God something serious happens and we can get some new candidates. And goodbye.